What's going on, my friends? It's time to talk The Last Dance episodes 7 and 8. Because this whole docuseries just keeps getting better. Episode by episode. I mean, every Sunday we've had since April 19th just been exquisitely awesome. So, these last two were about coming off of 5 and 6 when he was talking about retirement for sure. After the 93 season when he won 3 in a row. And what was really cool was we get the whole inside and backstory behind it, which we knew that he had an itch to play baseball because his father wanted him to play baseball. So that was number one. And two was that, and he also said this in 5 and 6 was he was getting mentally drained. So what he wanted to do was not only fulfill his father's dream and a childhood dream that he had, but he just wanted to he needed to step away from the game because of how mentally draining it was. Now, this also goes into his father's death, which is it's you saw the emotional toll it took on him when his father passed away. So there's always going to be those conspiracies, or not really conspiracies, but there's also going to be those theories of what happened. Did his gambling play into it? Me personally, that's really not something I'm concerned with, because the only person or the people who really have to deal with it is Michael, MJ, and his family have to deal with that. We as people can just speculate, we can try and guess all we want, we can try to connect all the dots, but ultimately all we're doing is just playing a little game of hide and go seek, tic tac toe. But he's the one and his family are the ones who really have to deal with that at the end of the day. So um I don't speculate on it. I don't really care too much about it. I know there's fans out there who want to kind of use that against him in the GOAT debate, which is that's your own choice. I personally don't think that's either fair or it's respectful, but people are going to do what they're going to do. So there's that. But it was also cool seeing him play baseball down in AA for the, what was it? Birmingham Barons. All the media, he had to play AA because single A couldn't hold all the media. But you got to see his 13 game hit streak, and then you got to see his struggles where teams started to throw him breaking ball pitches because they were just throwing him fastballs, but he could hit them. But yeah, that part was really cool. You got to see the Bulls win games without him, especially the first year where that team was really built and they had pieces that were left over from there, especially Horace Grant and Scottie Pippen. So they basically were just still had the wheels on the bus. Things just kept flowing. Scottie was an MVP candidate. We got to see the moment where Scottie took himself out of the game, which you don't see that in a lot of back then because there wasn't social media, but to actually see it and hear about it, which for me is the first time because as much as a basketball fan and basketball historian that I try to be, there's just things that weren't as covered. And so seeing that was it just makes this whole thing even more cooler. All the aspects that they tie into it, because this isn't just about The Last Dance. It's about if you really think about it, all the events that led to it. The whole entire journey, Michael's entire journey up until that last Bulls championship. So you have Scotty's beginning and his last few games as a Bull and his last championship as a player, which is also really cool. So, this thing is just so enjoyable. And then you get his return to basketball in 94, 95. I think he got 17 regular season games. And then the playoffs, when he was in baseball shape, not in basketball shape, because of how he came in during the season, at the end of the season, basically, and helped the team get to the playoffs. He just wasn't ready physically or mentally, really, if you think about it, because that stuff starts to take its toll on you. Then they got swept by the Orlando Magic in was it the second round or conference finals? I believe it was second round, but I'm not really sure. I have to go back and look at that. But it's just things like that. Michael Jordan's mind and his competitive nature Like it only takes small things to kind of just set him off because of how competitively driven he is, how much he wants to win. Even in these last two episodes, we've seen players saying things, even players not even saying anything. Him making stuff up just to take him to another place where he's just unstoppable. So I mean, like think about how psychotic you got to be just to make up something that a player never said. He said that player who dropped like 36 on him, he said the player walked him and said, nice game, Mike. He made that up. And I'm pretty sure he's made up many other things about many different players. But for him, in order to take it to the next level, that's something that he did. And I'm pretty sure he's not going to tell everybody to do that because everybody can't do that the same. But for him, he could do that. And he could use that to his advantage, which was, incredibly cool. I think, he talked about his reputation, and I think it is going to be different because what we're seeing here is that he was so driven to win that it'll rub you the wrong way because of the way he treated his teammates, the way, he treated Scott Burrell, how he tried to push him, but he couldn't get Scott Burrell to that level that he thought Scott Burrell could be. Michael Jordan wasn't intent on just winning and being great. What he wanted to do was, because of his tough leadership style and what he came from through the Pistons, was he wasn't just going to sit back and let you ride the coattails. He was going to push you to be your best so that you're not sitting back while the team is doing good. If you're going to come in and play, well, I want you to play at your best as well. I don't just want to, he believes he's the GOAT, but he knows he can't do it by himself. That's what he learned from the Pistons. I mean, he knows he's the best player on the best team, but it takes a whole team to win the whole thing. And I just loved it. It's just my favorite parts are just the stories of him, the way he talked to his teammates, that whole thing, those two episodes. It's my favorite part so far. Like every part has just given us even more and even more into his mindset. And finally, when you saw him win the 96 title when his team was 72-10 on Father's Day, and he was crying in the locker room because his father wasn't there, I literally almost cried because it's just like, wow, you could see the emotion, and you could kind of feel it in a sense of how much, not only did he want to do it, but of how much he missed his dad up to that point. And to win it on Father's Day, I mean, that, you never know what to say. And I've seen that moment before, but I never knew the significant background of it. All I knew was that he won a championship, but I never knew why that was his reaction when he got to the locker room. So now that I know, it's just, this whole thing is amazing. I can't even lie about it. It's just amazing. I know I'll enjoy it because we don't get as much basketball besides old highlights and replays, but you know, I think this just adds to, his legacy as a winner, as a competitor, and we just get to see it even more. There's if people are gonna knock LeBron James, do it by your own choice, but I don't think this should knock him. I just think it just helps you look at, his play, and if you compare the two, I don't think there is a comparison because Jordan, to me, his ultimate drive to win, it just was above anybody else's. He wanted to win that badly, and everybody's right when you compare him to Kobe. You saw Kobe kind of, with his teammates act the same way because his competitive drive, his will to win, was right up there with Jordan's. So, it just makes me think it would be so cool, even though Kobe's gone, if we got, a docuseries like this of him, you know, because him and Jordan competitively will to win. You have the Birds, you got the Larry Birds, you got Magic Johnson, as Isaiah Thomas, you know, but when you really watch them play, their will to win, the way they played, you just never, I've never seen anything like it. LeBron is a winner. He's a three-time champ, but to me, like when you watch him play, there's a difference. When I watched Kobe and MJ, I'm going to keep repeating this, because people don't talk about it enough. I saw those two evolve. you know, because early in their careers they were athletic, they were really driven as players above the rim. Kobe could score in different ways, but Jordan was mainly a slasher who did hit a lot of mid range and post faders, even though the post fade really was his main weapon as his career, as he got into the twilight of his career, back in the last three championships, the fadeaway just was basically unguardable. He did have it at the beginning and towards the middle, but at the end, that was his weapon, and there wasn't a lot you could do about it. And Kobe, to me, was doing that in the middle and the end, not at the beginning so much, but as Kobe's athletic ability waned, his footwork, his skills, they grew. Now LeBron is great, but to me, he hasn't evolved. He's not a very great off-ball player. And to me, while you do see him shoot a post fadeaway, does he really have a refined post game? Does he really have a post game that scares you? Is he a guy that if he was to back you down, do you does it make you cringe because he could either go left or right with a post hook? He could shoot this fadeaway because I don't know which way he's gonna shimmy right left. Like to me, LeBron doesn't have those. He mainly goes to the post to hit guys open for threes in the corner. So LeBron's great, no doubt. But I think this era he's benefited with ball movement and the faster pace of play. Because back then, I think LeBron would have been greater in my eyes because he would have been forced to be more skilled as his career grew on. Because athleticism, I think LeBron is still athletic, and people keep saying he's declining. I don't see much of a decline. I don't know why I don't, but to me, I don't see it. But I think he would have been greater back then because not only because of the competition driving him and his will to win would have just increased, but he definitely would have had to, his skills would have had to just jump. Post moves, jump shooting. MJ was one of the best mid range jump shooters of all time. You could put Kobe in there, definitely put KD. Like KD's mid range game, I think is, I don't know, but this is not about KD. But man, I could make a whole video about KD, like, because he's skilled. Anyway, I saw Jordan, I saw Kobe evolve. LeBron is getting to the stage where his game is still, he can still dominate with his game that he plays. But imagine if he had more refined skills, and I mean talking post work, I mean back screening for guys, getting guys open with screens, not having to have the ball in his hands to be effective all the time. I think at that, if LeBron developed that, and I think if he played back then, he would have. There's, I don't know. I don't think there would be a limit to his powers. So that's gonna do it. This is my breakdown on episode 7 and 8 of The Last Dance. A little comparison between Kobe, MJ, and LeBron. A little analysis on what LeBron, to me lacks. But it's all of personal opinion. I think some people think, LeBron should continue on what he does. I think LeBron needs to evolve. I don't think people talk about that part of his game enough. So, but thank you guys for listening. Always leave comments. Always share your thoughts, if I'm wrong, if I'm right, because, it's all a matter of opinion. But, it's going to do it for this episode. Or this video, excuse me, of Purpose here. Purpose Sports here for you guys. So, thank you guys for listening, and I'll see you guys in my next video.